All right, what's up, guys? Today we're going to give you 5 pros, 5 cons of Roseville, California. Let's get started. All right, what's up, Aaron? How's it going today?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
We're talking a little Roseville.
Yeah?
Roseville. So let's get in with the good stuff. Let's talk a little bit about the pros. The pros are always more fun. So what are the 5 pros for you as far as if someone's calling up and saying, hey, I heard Roseville's awesome. Tell me what's good about Roseville. What are you thinking?
Well, as far as Roseville, there's quite a few things that could fall into the pros bucket. But I mean, you're really looking at it's a nicer area. You've got tons of shopping options. You got the Roseville Galleria, the fountains, all the big box stores and all that stuff that are right across the street from all of that. Similar to Folsom, you got great schools out there. You go to that website, greatschools.org, and you can check out all the sites. But, typically the schools in Placer tend to do pretty well. And depending on where you are located, I feel like this one's a pro and a con, kind of make both of my lists so depending on where you have to work, depending on where you like to spend your time, where your family's at, all of those kinds of things, Roseville can either be very convenient or you can feel like you're in Texas, when you've got to go out there or, commute to wherever you've got to go. The other thing that I like about Roseville is its proximity to Folsom Lake. So here's this box is Roseville, and so Folsom Lake's right here. So if you were to head down Douglas Boulevard, you're gonna dead end right into the entrance into Folsom Lake. So if you're somebody that likes to go boating or outdoor recreation, those kinds of things. And then also, as you kind of zoom the map out here, Roseville, you're very close to Auburn. You're a short trip to Truckee. You're close to a lot of things that are along the 80 corridor. So if you're somebody that's into the outdoor stuff, you like biking, hiking, those kinds of things, it's pretty easy to get to, a cool place to go do those things. Yeah. So I think that's what I'd put in for, the things that I really like about Roseville.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like about Roseville. For me, I'd say my 5 are probably going to be like you said, the shopping. Mm-hmm. I like me some Restoration Hardware, Apple stores there. It's really, really nice. 2, probably the dining. You get some nice food choices there, which work for me. Pushkin's Bakery, gluten-free veggie area too.
My wife loves that place.
Number 3, I'd probably say, as far as being close, like you said, to the water, green. I think that's really, really nice as far as being able to do some of that stuff. I'd say number 4 would be it has Folsom vibes, but not the Folsom price tag. Do you know what I mean? There's always a little bit more available in Roseville. So for me, I really, really like that. And number 5 for me, and I'm going to say that number 5, I like the fact that it's close to a lot of big players like Granite Bay, like Rockland. I mean, it's always good to be near some powerhouse spots because as far as the market we're going into, you want to kind of hedge your bets as much as possible. Roseville is a spot, that people like, but as we go into the cons, as we always will, what are 5 things that you don't like about Roseville?
Well, so, we were talking about, some of the stuff that I like, depending on where you need to spend your time, is location. Now, on the flip side, for me, as somebody that doesn't, spend my time off of the 80 corridor, I spend more time off of the 50 corridor, the other half of Sacramento. Mm-hmm. And so if I have to go to Roseville, I feel like I'm traveling to, Texas or something, even though, it's only 30 minutes or whatever. But, depending on where you're located in the region and where, you have to spend your time, Roseville can, kind of be out there. Now, there's also different parts of Roseville. Personally, I really like the east part of Roseville, which coincidentally butts up to Granite Bay, Rockland,
Zoom in on that a little.
Yeah, this is so the east side of Roseville. this is all Granite Bay right here. And then if you go on this north side of this block, you're in Rockland, which Rockland's a really nice area. Granite Bay is one of the nicest zip codes in the region.
Yeah.
But as you make your way towards this side of town, the houses are nicer, the restaurants, all the stuff, kind of, shoots up a little bit. But as far as Roseville goes, it can be very congested.
Yes, definitely.
Depending on where you have to travel to within town and everything. Like for me personally, for 10 years of my life, I worked off of this street right here, basically Lead Hill Boulevard. And so like Jen and I, my business partner, she and I always joke around. We were right here on Lava Ridge Court. And our old boss used to always be like on a Friday, he'd be like we'd have to have a meeting at like 4:45 or whatever. And we're like, great. Okay. Well, that means we're going to get home at like midnight or whatever, because when you leave, everybody, it feels like at least everybody and their mom is trying to make their way to Highway 80. And 80 just turns into a crawl.
Yeah.
And then within Roseville, like if you got to take any of the main roads like Eureka, Roseville Parkway, some of the main roads that kind of cut through, those two are really, really congested during those rush hour times. So it can get very congested. I would also say that, one of the parts of Roseville that's really popular right now, I'll kind of zoom in over there. This is West Roseville.
Oh, yeah. West Roseville.
Like you got the Baseline Road and, West Roseville is really nice because it's new. A lot of this is all newer stuff out here. So you've got newer stores, newer, shopping, all that stuff. But I mean, if you look at everything, as you zoom out on the map, if you live over here, well, how do you get to Sacramento if you got to go to work? Or, how do you get to where you need to go? And so it's not exactly conveniently located if you're somebody that's, got to jam around town often.
Yeah.
But if you're a homebody and you're a remote worker or whatever, oh my gosh, West Roseville is awesome. It's just, driving around town can, kind of suck. So you got to keep that in mind. I would also say that the downtown Roseville area, because you've got this industrial, you can kind of see in the map here, all these railways. You got a massive Union Pacific Railroad, depot station, if you will, going through there. And for whatever reason, like if you go back in the day when Roseville, like that part of the town was designed, navigating Washington Boulevard and getting like into where you're actually on Vernon Street in downtown Roseville, like where, the various restaurants and shops would be, it can be really confusing getting over there. Or you end up like way out, you end up down here or whatever because you take the wrong turn and you got to take, you're stuck on Foothill Road or whatever. But the only other thing that I would say, while we're beating up on Roseville is, depending on what part of Roseville you're in, it can be pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But again, you kind of get what you pay for. But I mean, Roseville's very diverse. Like this south side of Roseville, you can find houses like in the, mid 4s, low 5s, and, probably averaging closer to like, 500,000 to 600,000 in this range. But then you go into this little spot up here, and I mean, you're like $1 million easy in the East Roseville, Lead Hill area. And, you got some pretty expensive neighborhoods throughout here. You got Morgan Creek, which the golf club's right down here. But you've got a few other golf clubs. But then you get out into West Roseville. I got a client right now that I was just talking to him earlier today, and they're buying a house somewhere in this area, new build, of course. And their price, they go to the design center on Wednesday, which, guys, sidebar, be careful when you go into the design center because the price goes up quickly. But like before they do their upgrades, brand new house, they're looking at like $640,000. And so, price point comparative to other areas and for what you get, there's still, you get a lot for your money in Roseville. It's just you're going to pay more to live there than some other parts of the Sacramento region.
Yeah, I mean, I like Roseville. I mean, I would say if I was going with 5 cons of Roseville, I would say number 1, and this is kind of a pro and con. I know it's confusing, right? The Roseville Electric, the utilities.
Oh, yeah,
Roseville.
yeah. I
That's
forgot about
a pro,
that.
of course, because it's like, competitive with SMUD. But you're going to see power towers. You're going to see the plant, depending on where you live, and too, and that could be a little bit of an eyesore for people. I've seen people. I've actually shown houses where like there's a power tower in the backyard.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, did not see those in the listing photos. Wow. Wonder why they didn't include that. For me, number 2, I got into an accident about a year and a half ago with my car, and it was right on the 6580 at like 5 o'clock. You'd think I'd know better not to do that,
right
but
here.
like right there, that's a bear. That is a complete bear as far as if you're thinking about driving, the commute. There's a lot of traffic. It's like Roseville, kind of like my thoughts on Roseville is the fact that like there are some cities that were planned with the idea that it was going to grow to a level it was going to grow to. Roseville was not one of those cities.
No.
Roseville was like, oh, we're going to be a little small town. We're good to go. And Roseville just exploded. I mean, like I went to the Galleria and they got like Gucci, they got Rolex.
Yeah.
I mean, they're ramping up, you know what I mean? And so I'd say traffic. Number 3, I'd probably say the fact is like if you're trying to go from one area of Roseville to the next area of Roseville, I don't know, like 30 minutes? You're going to have to hit a couple freeways maybe or whatnot. And that's just, it's not really fun. It's not really like, I wouldn't say it's like that much of a walkable, like,
oh, no.
You're not walking from place to place in Roseville. And then I would say probably for number 4, like, the malls are great, but I'm not a big fan of when I got to go shopping in Roseville, there's a little anxiety in me.
I'm
like,
it.
Oh, like if you got to go somewhere like in the Galleria, you're like circling.
But some people like that. My wife loves that kind of stuff. Whereas like, Mark, I swear I would rather pay double and not have to go into the mall than get a good deal by me going inside of the mall. But so there are stores that are at the Galleria that you can't find anywhere else in the region. So like if you want to go to the Restoration Hardware, the Louis Vuitton, or there's a whole bunch of them, you got to go there. It's overwhelming though for me. Like it is massive. Yeah. And then not only is it massive, but because it's this whole little area right here where Mark had the car accident. And so you've got the Galleria right here, which is just huge. And then literally right across the street from the Galleria, you got this thing that's called the Fountains, which is like a really upscale outdoor shopping, dining, all that stuff. But then right across the street from that, this whole area right here is like all of your big box stores and everything. So, Best Buy, all those kinds of things. And then as soon as you go across from the freeway, which all this is just right on top of each other, I'll just give you a better view of it. So that's the Galleria, the Fountains, all the big box stores. And then as soon as you go across the freeway, this whole area, it starts up with more shopping, and you got Costco, Home Depot, Lowe's. I mean, it just goes on forever in terms of the shopping. And so because of the kind of poor planning, is what you're talking about, basically, you've got where Highway 80 and the 65 meet, but then at the same time, that's also where everybody wants to go do all their shopping. So, I mean, if you like are a glutton for punishment, you go shopping during rush hour traffic in Roseville.
Oh yeah. No. I would not wish that on my like worst enemy for that. But I'll go for my 5th. My 5th is that there's a big difference between East Roseville and West Roseville. There's a huge difference between it. And a lot of people are like, yeah, we're moving into Roseville, and I'm like, all right, well, look, we got to go take a look at East Roseville and West Roseville. West Roseville is where they're building all the new homes. East Roseville is where you're going to get that trickle of homes hitting the market. And a lot of people are like, well, but it's East Roseville. It's right next to Grant Bay. Is it Grant Bay? Is it Roseville? And sometimes you'll see it on MLS and it'll say Grant Bay, but then you go to that open house, it says Roseville. It's really, really kind of confusing for people looking to buy in the area. So for me, the number 5 is just like, you got to know which part of Roseville you're looking to buy into. And if you're thinking all of Roseville is the same, it's not. It's really, really not. And it can get a little confusing, but at the same time, West Roseville and East Roseville, they're both amazing spots to live, but they're so, so different. If you're someone looking for a brand new home, You're not going to find it in East Roseville. It's just not, they're just not building there. You know, West Roseville is where the land is, and that's kind of what they're doing. But, you know, for me, I think that both, you know, I think Roseville is a great spot. You know, we beat up on Roseville a little bit here, but I think it's a great spot. We get a lot of calls for people looking for Roseville. Price tag's a little bit less than Folsom. They still get they get more shopping than Folsom.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I said, Roseville, West Roseville, one day West Roseville and East Roseville will meet. The roads will be fine. The skies will be sunny and it'll be good. So I do like it. You know, so I like West Roseville. What are your final thoughts on West Roseville before we call it a day?
You know, if you're somebody that works for like Amazon, which is right next to the Sacramento airport, or you're somebody that works downtown, West Roseville can actually be pretty sweet because, you know, if you live over here, you'd basically, you can't see it because I'm zoomed in that much, but you'd hop onto this road here and it goes all the way. These are all just rice fields basically, which I'm sure someday will be more homes, but
of course.
You'll take your way all the way to the 99 and you can basically get to I-5 super easy, which, you know, if you're having to make the commute essentially, you know, you can get to the airport or to Amazon, or even if you needed to, downtown Sacramento, fairly easy compared to like if you lived in East Roseville or whatever, you know, you're not going to go that way because it would take you twice as long just getting through Roseville. But there's a lot of potential out there. And that's the other thing too is, you know, this is all just rice field. So as, you know, the reason that it's much more expensive on this side of town is that there's no land left. There's nowhere to build. Yeah. Over here, you know, they got, you know, sky's the limit. So I think, you know, as far as future growth and everything, you know, there's a lot more opportunity on the west side.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up another fun episode, Little Roseville, 5 pros and cons. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. And like I said, if you have any questions, reach out to Aaron, reach out to me. We'll take care of you. And that's it, guys. Until next time. Guess what, guys? The video just ended. But don't worry, we have more videos just like that one right over there. And if you missed that red subscribe button during the course of the video, we got you covered right there. Hit that subscribe button. We promise to bring you some amazing content. We won't let you down. Now, if you're looking for a team in the Sacramento metro area to work with, we'd love to talk to you one-on-one. We always include a Zoom link down below, so book a time where we can talk to you a little one-on-one, find out exactly what your real estate needs are.